In this video, we are going to be looking at Lingua's listening assignment. This allows you to generate authentic, high-quality audios on any topic, vocabulary, and grammar you want in just seconds, as well as listening comprehension questions to go along with it, enabling you to easily and effectively create homeworks, quizzes, and exams for listening comprehension. Let's see how it works. First, you can choose how many audios you want in this assignment. So let's do 3. And then for each audio, you enter in the topic or theme, and you also choose the style of the audio. So this will be different sort of styles or formats that the audio can be in, such as conversation, interview, news report, advertisement, podcast, speech, debate, or you can enter in your own one. Now you'll notice some of these styles are one person, like a news report or um, or a podcast, while other ones involve two people in the audio, such as conversations and interviews. So you can choose based on which type of audio you want. So for this one, let's do a conversation, and then let's put this in here. And we can enhance it. You can also choose the audio length. These are preset values that um, are different for different course levels. So this is a year 3 class. So you have these numbers here. You can also enter in your own one if you want a specific other duration. So let me choose this one. And you can also choose the audio difficulty and vocabulary and grammar. So let's go to the second one. And I'm going to make this a news report. Generate. And lastly, I'm going to do this and make this a podcast. Now you have the option to choose number of listens. This is how many times students can listen to the audio. So unlimited is best for like typical practice or homework where they can just listen to it as much as they want. These other ones are better for tests and quizzes where they can only listen to it a specific number of times, just like they would in a proper exam. So we'll take a look at that a little bit later. And then as usual, you have secure testing mode and Quetzalita listening assistant, and we'll take a look at that later as well. So on this screen here, all the audios are going to generate. This is going to take a while to generate because it's a pretty complicated process for the audios to generate. So you just have to be a little bit patient here. Now that all of the audios have generated, let's take a look at the first one. This is a conversation about vacations.
Hola Mateo, ¿qué tal tus vacaciones de verano?
Hola Sofía, geniales, la verdad. Fui a la costa, me encantó la playa y el sol.
¡Qué bien! Yo fui a las montañas, a un pueblo pequeño y muy tranquilo. ¡Qué paz!
Las montañas también son preciosas.
So as you can see, they sound very authentic and high quality. If you want to make any changes to the audio, you can either enter it in here, like for example, add a few more sentences, and you can just press enhance here, and then it'll generate a new audio with those changes. You can also say things like slow the speaking pace down a little bit. So you can make changes like that, and then the audio will be regenerated with those changes. You can also edit the individual, the actual text here. You can change it, and then if you make some changes, you can save it and then regenerate the audio like that. And you can also regenerate if you want to change the actual specific parameters for this audio. So let's take a look at the second one. This is a news report about natural disasters. So certain audio types like news reports and podcasts have musical intros and outros.
Cadena Global Noticias. Soy Lorena Méndez. Hoy les informamos sobre la grave situación en el Valle del Cauca, Colombia. Las fuertes lluvias recientes han provocado serias inundaciones y el desborde de ríos. Comunidades como Candelaria, Florida y Pradera están entre las más
So that's Muse Report, and then now let's take a look at the last one, which is a podcast about health and well-being.
Hola a todos y bienvenidos a Bienestar y Más Allá. Hoy hablamos de algo vital, cómo integrar hábitos saludables.
Okay, and then same thing for these. If you need to enhance or change the audio, you can do that. Just like in reading assignment, now you can go ahead and generate questions, either by choosing the specific question types you want, or by letting AI decide the question types, whichever ones fit the best for this specific audio. Once you're done generating all the questions and you're happy with them, remember you can also enhance them with AI or edit them or regenerate if you need to. Once you're happy with it, the save and publish button will appear once all questions have been generated for all the audios, and then we can save and publish. And on the assignment page here, you can see all the different audios, the transcript, and the questions. And if you ever need to change anything about the audios or questions, you just click this button to open it up in the listening builder. Over on the student side, this is the assignment page for listening assignment, so let's start it. So the layout of this is very similar to the layout for reading assignments. You have rather than the passages, you have the audios here. On this side, the student can take notes while they're listening, and then they can answer the questions here. They can also do things like strike through, and then bookmark for review later. So let's take a look at this.
Hola Mateo, ¿qué tal tus vacaciones de
Yeah,
verano?
while they're listening to the audio,
Hola Sofía,
you take notes
geniales, la verdad.
while they're
Fui a la costa, me encantó la playa y el sol.
¡Qué bien! Yo fui a las montañas, a un pueblo pequeño y muy tranquilo. ¡Qué paz!
Once the student is done answering all the questions, they can submit the assignment. And then this is going to take a second to grade the assignment. And on the results page here, we see all the audios and then all the student answers and explanation for why they're right or wrong. And we can also view the evidence in the passage itself. And it's going to, rather than highlighting it in the passage, it's just going to highlight it in the transcript over here. So we can see where in the audio shows evidence for that question's answer. And we see the total score breakdown per each audio. And as usual, we see skill points, strengths, and weaknesses for this assignment. So the student will view this once they're done, and the teacher can also see all of this, the student's individual submission on their side as well. After students have completed the assignment, we can click on this Performance Insight tabs to see some statistics about how many students have completed, the average score, high score, low score, and the most missed questions. And we can also see for each question how many students picked each answer choice, how many got it correct, how many got it wrong, and some additional details like that. We can also generate overall insights across all students, so global strengths and focus areas for this assignment. So now let's briefly take a look at some of these settings over here. So the first is secure testing mode. This is just like as you've seen in previous videos for assignments. It just locks the browser down so the student cannot switch tabs or leave the exam environment, and if they do, you will be notified. Now let's take a look at Quetzalita Listening Assistant. So the listening assistant is very similar to the one for reading assignments. The student can open it up if you've enabled it and ask Quetzalita questions like, help me understand this audio. And then Quetzalita will help the student understand the audio as well as answer the questions without giving the answer away, just putting this, guiding the student in the right direction. So Quetzalita has access to the transcript of the audio, but the student does not. So that's how Quetzalita is able to help students understand the audio and also answer the questions. So the last option we have over here is number of listens. So like I mentioned earlier, If you choose a number like 3, 2, or 1, that limits the number of audio playbacks students can hear up to that many times. And the student can also not skip to different parts of the audio. They have to hear the whole thing only this many times. This is very similar to what typically happens in an exam setting where you can only hear the audio a specific number of times. So let's see how that works. So over on the student's end, you can see here that there's a warning that you can only listen to it 3 times. So let's start the assignment. So now instead of a playback audio player here where the student can forward to any spot and also keep playing it as many times as they want, they can only get this many listens. So
Hola Mateo, ¿qué tal tus vacaciones de verano?
it plays over
Hola
here.
Sofía,
Students can answer
geniales,
the
la verdad.
questions.
Fui a la costa, me encantó la playa y el sol.
¡Qué bien! Yo fui a las montañas, a un pueblo pequeño y muy tranquilo. ¡Qué paz!
And then
Las montañas
if the student goes somewhere else and comes back, you see now they only have 2 listens left. So it gives the student a little bit of grace period. So they only play the first few seconds and then switch away by mistake or leave the assignment or something. Then it won't cost them a listen. But if they listen to a significant portion, like anywhere more than about 1/4 of the audio, then it's going to cost them a listen. And then they only have this many listens. Once this runs out, then they're not allowed to listen to it anymore. So this simulates the testing environment for students for quizzes and exams. One last thing I would like to mention is over on the teacher's end. If you as a teacher ever want to look at students' individual submissions, you just click on the submissions tab here and then click on a student's full report. And then this will show you that student's individual submission and then the questions they answered and the work that they did. You can also click this button here to show their notes that they wrote here. So that wraps it up for this video. I hope you enjoy using the listening assignment in your classes. Thanks for watching.